Okay, let's talk about the 2020 Week 15 game against with the Chargers against the Raiders. Why are we talking about this? Well, the new Atlanta Falcons quarterback, Marcus Mariota, played in this game. This is the only game he's played in the past 2 years, so I thought it could be interesting to kind of talk about how he played in this game, and also I went back and watched a lot of his, Titans film when he was, with Arthur Smith, the new Falcons head coach. So I'm going to talk about kind of what I saw there as well throughout this video. I thought he did some nice things throughout this. Like, he is someone who is probably maybe a top 32 quarterback in the NFL, right? I don't think that's a crazy hot take necessarily. Like, something like this is going to be a good example of exactly what he can do well, I think. It's going to be a zone coverage play, and the route that he wants to look towards is going to be that route over the middle. If you're wearing a Raiders uniform and you're tasked with throwing the football, sometimes just look for Darren Waller. Not a bad strategy. Cannot fault anyone for doing that. However, right when this play begins, it's good defense by the Chargers. If Mariota threw this one towards Waller, probably not going to work out too well. So you have to look at other options, and nothing else is really open right now. But this is where having a guy who can move like Mariota comes in handy. As you see, when he gets outside the pocket, you're going to notice that, again, this isn't wide open. The receiver who I've circled in black, that's not a wide open play, and this is kind of a tough throw for Mariota to make. He's going to be throwing across his body here. However, as you see, Mariota is able to make that throw. It's a good throw. It's a good play. So, again, it's not to say that you can't find other quarterbacks who can do this, and obviously consistency is a big part of being a quarterback in general, but what this play is showing you is that there are things he can do that your average backup quarterback can't do, and that's just an inherent advantage that he's bringing to your football team compared to if you went after, like a Kyle Allen or something. I always use Kyle Allen as my typical, random backup guy who's just fine. Mariota can do these things that a Kyle Allen couldn't. If you're watching this video, Kyle Allen, no disrespect whatsoever, just threw out a name. And now, for something like this, I do think that part of what Mariota, why I think that Arthur Smith feels like he wants Mariota to at least be a bridge quarterback is because he can just do the simple stuff, which is something that obviously for an Arthur Smith offense, that's what you want, is someone who can just do the simple stuff. This play, it's going to be zone coverage. You're going to run a play action, and then you're going to have Darren Waller run over the middle. This is an Arthur Smith type play. Obviously, this is John Gruden, not Arthur Smith calling the plays, but this is that kind of play. Arthur Smith loves this type of play. It's in every offense, but, it's a specialty in the Arthur Smith offense, and part of that might have been, having Derrick Henry for so long, but he did a lot in Atlanta last year as well. And right when this play begins, Mariota runs the play action, and, Waller's open. Like, this is a good schemed up play. But Mariota still, puts it on the money, gets it there in time, and this could also help with a young quarterback like Desmond Ridder to have someone like Mariota who has a good understanding of the offense. I certainly think that that's going to be something that they will value here. Because if Ridder does get significant playing time in this season, as I do suspect he will, I can't say for certain, but I do think that he probably will get significant playing time, having someone like Mariota who has been in the system for a while and knows kind of the ins and outs of it, that's something that definitely will, give you some value. And there's also just stuff like this, which I think that Mariota brings to the table that other guys just aren't going to bring to the table, is he is a pretty good athlete. Play like this, it's just going to be a simple sort of read option play. And this is what the Raiders used Mariota for a little bit when they signed him, was he was a guy who would come in on occasion and run these type of plays, whereas, it's not like they would have Derek Carr do something like this. So you could bring Mariota in almost similar to like a Taysom Hill type role. They just didn't do it as frequently. But the way this play works is that when you fake the handoff, typically the edge rusher who I've circled in black, he's going to move further in, which will allow Mariota to get to the outside of him. Like, watch, right when this play begins, you do see that works out pretty well. There is another player who I've circled now, though, that's, I think, read this play well and is trying to get over and make a play on Mariota. However, as you see, Mariota does a great job of being able to run over and, squeezes through those tackles and picks up the first down. So because Mariota was able to do something like that, that's just something that it'll, again, that's an added benefit, that's a play you can run with Mariota that you just can't run with other players. I don't know if you want to run that with Desmond Ridder, but if you don't have an athletic quarterback, which, Ritter's athletic, I just don't know if you want him taking those hits, but you could just have Mariota come in and do something like that, which would be nice. So let's also go over to something like this. Like, again, Mariota was a second overall pick for a reason, and part of it might be, I do have to say, it is a thing that happens where teams will overvalue someone who was picked higher in a draft in previous years. I saw someone did a study on guys who typically they'll exceed their actual value in terms of contracts based on when they were drafted. That is a real thing, and part of it might just be in NFL teams' databases. Like the first thing that comes up is when the player was drafted. So like you look at Mariota, first thing that comes up is second overall pick. It might just beat it into your head a little bit, or maybe it's just they liked what they saw in college, and everyone believes they can fix any issues with any player. And listen, these coaches are great; they do a good job of that. But as a whole, it's not always the best strategy. But that being said, there still is a reason to believe it, and it can work out at times that you can fix somebody, or just that they have traits that are worthy of a second overall pick. So you still like to have that guy as a bridge quarterback, which it seems like Mariota is here for. Like something like this is a good example of that. It's going to be a cover 3 zone. You have a receiver running a deep route, and watch what happens. Right when this play begins, due to the cover 3 zone, there's a single safety deep, and he was lined up on the hash marks to the offense's right, which means that just, it's going to be hard for him to get all the way over there. You see that Darren Waller has a little bit of a step. He's not wide open, but this is the NFL. Guys don't get wide open. As you see, Mariota makes a good throw, and they're able to pick up a touchdown right there. So again, he does some nice things. Like he is someone who, I'm sorry, but if he was the starting quarterback last year, he would not have been probably a bottom 5 quarterback last year. So not to say that he's a star, but he is someone who can play. And of course, the hope is, as we haven't seen him in a couple years, maybe he's improved since then. Now, I do have to say, one of the issues that he's had his entire career, and it was certainly an issue in that game itself, was a bit of an accuracy issue, especially in this game that I'm kind of, making most of my points on. Although, again, I'm using it as the whole body of work, kind of just using this one game as an example of his whole body of work. But this was an example of his whole body of work, where if you're going to have a receiver get open against cover 3 zone here, look at how right when this play begins, you do see, wide open receiver. This is the throw you realistically have to make in the NFL. Mariota's throw was behind Aguilar there. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe he thought Aguilar was going to a different zone, because that happened a couple of times in that game, but he also missed some throws in general. So that's kind of the concern that I think is fair to have if you are a Falcons fan, is that, the accuracy isn't totally there. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Marcus Mariota. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.